Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's STORMYBMAN, and I am back welcoming you to the Friday Night Chop Session with STORMYBMAN for this Friday, August 6th, 2021. And we are here to talk boxing once again with the Friday Night Chop Session with STORMYBMAN. Welcoming you all here. I'm glad to be here with you. Glad to have you with me as we talk and round up another week in the sport of boxing. What's going on, my people? What's going on? Please smash that like button as you come in, and we will talk and laugh and joke and get up out of here as we have been prone to do on the Friday Night Chop Session with STORMYBMAN. I'm just a little subdued today. Man, it's like these days are coming and going, but Stormy is feeling a little bit, a little under the weather, but I'm trying to push through, family, trying to push through. It's good to see you out there. We got Young World out there. He says, yo, salute Big Storm and salute to the chat. And B-Mac is out there saying salute, and Loco Sports is out there saying salute to all. Salute to you, Loco Sports, man. What's good with you? What is good with you? I know that we had a few people that just stopped by to hit the like button. That's fine. If people don't want to hang around, and if you noticed, we did have something that kind of shows. There was a poll that I put in for this evening's chat, and basically it's asking which of the young, prospects do you think is going to earn their way to a title first, and it's asking if you think that it's going to be Victor Ortiz, if you think it's going to be Jaron Ennis, or if you think that it may end up being Imantas Stanionis, who is fighting this weekend, tomorrow evening on the card. And, we're going to talk about it a little bit. You never know with these guys because of the way that their careers are guided and how promoters maneuver them and everything. So you'll find out, but sometimes the guy you think that will have the fastest track toward the titles may incur a bump in the road or something. And then sometimes, the guy that you think didn't have a shot end up being the first one with a title, man. It's like, it is so crazy in the sport of boxing. So when we put that poll out there, it was just a way of stirring up conversation in boxing, today, and seeing what you guys would think about something like that. So now the poll is not even showing on my screen. I don't know. Sometimes this we can play around with our technology and everything and think we have everything going good, and as soon as you need something to operate, it fails. So if you guys can still see the poll, that's great. I can't see it anymore on my second screen over here. So I don't know what happened with that. When we went live, it was there. Now it's not there no more. So, but I see Loco says he here to catch as much as I can before I be asleep. Yeah. You know what? That's probably what my problem is, Loco. I probably need to get in the bed earlier, Excuse me, on these Fridays, maybe Stormy need to just get on in the bed, and turn it into a Monday night chop session or something. I don't know, but it's the end of the week. I'm glad. And it's an extended weekend for me. So we're going to make it, we're going to make it through. Sir Ken is out there, says, STORMYBMAN salute. Salute to the wrenches and salute to the chats. Smash the like button. I don't know, guys, if you haven't heard, and there seems to be more people out there that's watching than that's in the chat. I hope that you guys are family, and I hope that you guys don't mind writing in the chat, because that's kind of what keeps us going. I see you out there, Jellybean 4280. Salute, OG says. Salute to you. Earlier today, I I put in a video, or release or premiered a video, and it's causing quite a stir. If you guys have heard about it already, great. If you haven't heard about it yet, it's the video of mine. It's called Welcome to Black Murderers Row 2021. And that video in particular seems to be fast trekking with a lot of views, and it's also stirred up a lot of conversation, inspired some content to be put out in the thereafter, and I'm glad to contribute positively in that regard, because the video is my own acknowledgement of the state of the sport currently, and I thought that to articulate the thoughts and having the wherewithal to call acknowledgement or attention to the subject at hand was important. And that's what we were doing with that video. And if you haven't had a chance to check it out, please do so. It's probably along the lines of some of the best work that I've put out, but it's also a very positive piece of work that when people get a chance to see something like that, it may give you room for pause to say, hey, really, what's going on here? So just, if you haven't had it, it's on the main page there. You could go check it out. I see Watcher is out there. He says, salute. I saw it. Great content. Sir Ken says, Ortiz Jr. and Ennis are my two front runners. But we never know with boxing. Absolutely. And if you don't know about Stanionis, you're going to have the chance to check him out tomorrow night when he takes on COLLAZO. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. But just giving everybody a chance to come on into the building. Jellybean says, if Stanionis is fighting Luis COLLAZO, I think COLLAZO is bad stylistically. No, COLLAZO is a great test for Stanionis, who I appeared to be a supporter of, and I'm not afraid of this fight. I want to see how good Stanionis is. I know he has limitations, and there are some things that need to be worked on, but this is the type of fight that if you have someone that's progressing, they need to fight a fighter like Luis COLLAZO sooner than later. We saw what COLLAZO was able to do against Keith Thurman after he was at that level of championship caliber fighter, and people started to have some questions about Keith because he had a rough outing when he got in there with COLLAZO. So COLLAZO is a real professional fighter out there. And at the age of 40, the clock is just running out on him as far as how much time he may have left in the sport to compete with a lot of these young lions in a sport where you have to cut and make weight. Excuse me. I was not yawning before the show, and here I am. I will apologize for that, people. Listen, COLLAZO is a good fighter. And he's the type of fighter that more and more in just a generation ago, you would see him in battles and you will see him with victories over certain people because he's the type of fighter that's going to tell the truth about you. Similar to like Orlando Solito when he fought Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko had a rough go with Orlando Salido, and that's why he lost that fight. For as good a fighter as they were touting him as, take note that he hasn't fought a guy like Orlando Salido since, and that says something. So when you have fighters who can show your young prospect or hopeful some difficulty, not only do you take that in with a welcome armed approach, but you also adopt people like that to work with in the gym and things like that, so you'll have things that you can constantly work on. And a young hopeful who suffers a loss or two early on, that's, especially if it's like decision losses and things like that. But you don't want a guy to become a young champion and then have to fight a guy like COLLAZO because you're picking him because of his record, and then he take your title away from you. We talk about this all the time, people. Salute to my man, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. He says, salute my peoples. Big Texas, ATX Cletus Smith is out there, says, salute to the chat family. And salute Stormy B-Man. Salute to you, brother. Good to see you back this week for another chop session, man. And I'm hoping to be joined by Reggie Owens when he gets a moment. But, yeah, we're going to take a quick moment to do what I call, like, that's that pay the bill type moment for the show early on. We have in the description box, also at the bottom of every video, we got the link for Stormy B-Man merchandise, man. You guys have got to get on board with this merchandise. I've been really picking up on this as of late, and we have an assortment of goodies out there for you. If you go over there with that link, you could get you something like one of these Stormy B-Man coffee mugs here. Yeah, that's what we got. You could rise up in the morning and pour your favorite mocha latte, whatever you drink, your tea or whatever, and enjoy it with Stormy B-Man early. You know what I'm saying? Then we also have the Stormy B-Man snap caps, where you have also an assortment of colors and designs for this hat. I actually have the one that's pictured here. It's really a nice baseball cap, man. I'm going to tell you something. It's quality stuff, man. And for those who have bought some of the Stormy B-Man merchandise, I have received very favorable comments and reviews on that. So just know that, it's no jive. We putting it on out there, man. So also we have the Stormy B-Man backpacks, where these are just a simple champion bag that has the Stormy B-Man logo on there. It's a couple of different colors on these, and they're nice when you gotta put your stuff in there and you're getting ready to go to the gym, or you're going to the office, or you're going, on the go. Like, people like to carry backpacks now instead of, big wallets and briefcases and things like that. So it's just another way to have something to keep you going and to hold your items in, and it's quality made, like I said, by the company Champion. So, and then we have the Windbreaker, and this is a packable jacket, which means that zipper line that goes right across the center of it there in the middle, when you take it off, you can actually fold it up and put it inside that zipper and close it up like an umbrella or something. But this is, I call it like a windbreaker, and it comes in a couple of different colors, 3 colors to be exact. And this one here is the black one with the gold logo on the breastplate there. It's pretty spiffy, and comes in a number of sizes. So this is something for you all that's out there in the areas where it kind of rains a little bit, and you don't want to carry a big old umbrella or whatever, and it has a hood on it. So it's like, hey, man, we're doing it over here. We provide you with a means of taking care of yourself and be looking good all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And then also don't forget, like what I'm sporting tonight and on most of the shows, I have my Stormy B Man hoodie. Yeah, that's right, the hoodie. This right here is nice, and I recently added some new colors to the hoodie, which makes it even more appealing, because some people like black, okay, but to be able to go with a couple of different colors, a couple of lighter colors, you know, it makes you feel a little bit better about what you're wearing and what you're wearing it with. So, you know, that's one of the things to take note of. I try to make sure that I keep people in mind with that when I design some of my merchandise. And it's another way to just stay on top of things. You know what I'm saying? And so after the hoodie, we also have the Stormy B Man tees. Okay. And those tees are absolutely a lot like the hoodies as far as the colors that are offered. And you could get you one of those, and I guarantee you wouldn't be disappointed. A couple of the brothers had those t-shirts, and they said, hey man, I got my Stormy B Man t-shirt, it's feeling good on me. Bruce Goes got a hat, I think. I Am Ill Will, salute to I Am Ill Will out there, and go subscribe to his new channel, I Am Trill Will. He's trying to build his subscribers back up. He said he had one of his Stormy B Man shirts, and then on one of his recent lives he was sporting it, and that was pretty cool. The brother showing the support in the community. And what else we got here? I think that's about it for as far as the merchandise. So, you know, go on over there and see if you find something that you like, man. And I'm telling you, quality material, and you know, definitely at affordable prices, because you know you could put a couple of them 6-packs down and go ahead and get you one of these Stormy B Man merchandise items, man. We got World Combat Sports is out there. He says hashtag another one. Salute at Stormy B Man. Salute to you. And Sir Ken is saluting Combat Sports. And Dark Truth is out there, and he's offering up a super chat. And I don't know why my super chat notification didn't go off, but salute to Dark Truth out there with that super chat, man. We appreciate you and your donation to the channel, man. And man, what can I say? I appreciate that so much, brother. But yeah, this is what we're working with here, you know. So we got a lot going on, man. There's also, don't forget, for those of you who like to comment on the when you comment on the videos or any of our live streams in the comment section, don't forget that you can be in the running for the sweepstakes, for the free giveaway of Jackie Chan's Drunken Master. That's right, Stormy B Man still hasn't had that 50th person to come in, which means that y'all ain't feeling the Kung Fu movie too much, but that's okay, because there are some Kung Fu fans out there, man, and they want a free something. And that's what you're going to get when you type in Enter to Win and you're the 50th person. You can get you one of these Jackie Chan Drunken Master Blu-rays. I'm telling you, it's tight. The picture quality is great. For an old film from 1978, they made it look like it was made yesterday in your backyard. So, got to check this out, man. Jackie Chan's Drunken Master. You know what I mean? And we got a Kung Fu Film Focus coming up very soon, tomorrow to be exact. And it's for the members only, because you guys don't like to show support. You just be sniffing around and peeping and everything. Well, the members will get a chance. It's a little gift to them for being members of the Stormy B Man channel. And we're calling that one Once Upon a Time in China, a Jet Li classic, okay, from 1991. So then we have, lastly, the Black Gentleman's Grooming Company, where Stormy B Man is still an official ambassador to the Black Gentleman's Grooming Company, going over there, a wholesale bunch of quality handcrafted products, skin products, hair and beard products where you can, I'm telling you, put this stuff on you, man. You smell nice, you feel nice, huh? And you look nice. And I'm gonna tell you something. And the ladies like it, man. If you one of them single dudes out there, man, you put this stuff on your body, man. I'm telling you. Next thing you know, she's like, well, can I put that on you? Yeah. And you know what happens after that? The underwears fall off. Yeah. So, but enter Stormy B Man over there at the Black Gentleman's Grooming Company, and you could get 10% off of your latest purchase, man. So now that we've got all that out the way, I appreciate everybody that took the time to listen to me while I said that bit. And we're going to get into tonight's show. Lately, there's been a lot of talk. As you see, I've got Deontay Wilder, on the backboard behind me there on the jumbo screen. There's been a lot of talk about what may happen or what may not happen in the proposed rubber match that's supposed to take place between Wilder and Fury. We don't know if this fight is really going to come off. There's been a lot of things being said recently, again, by the Fury camp. And as they say, man, talk is cheap. You know what I mean? This man been out here running his mouth, talking all kinds of stuff, talking about Fury and his dad over there. They on the other side of the world too, talking stuff. So that really lets you know that they ain't that serious, because when he was over here, Fury didn't have a lot to say, just running around acting goofy and whatnot. But this is not a time for games, I think that what we're going to see coming up is Deontay Wilder being about as serious as he's ever been, getting ready for this fight. And I'll tell you something. Salute to the troll killer out there. I see you, Mr. Shelton. Salute to you, brother. Listen. This man is serious, Deontay Wilder. And whether or not the third fight takes place, I have expressed sentiments to some of the other brothers that, I talk to behind the scenes and whatnot. I feel for whoever is going to be that next person that gets in the ring with Deontay Wilder, man, because the dude is about that work, man. He's about that work. You know what I'm saying? He's getting ready, and he ain't getting ready to just go in there and just be messing around. He's ready to get in there and get some damage done. And they better pay attention to this, because, and I think they are. That's one of the reasons why they went ahead and pulled out of that fight, for the 24th. But it's just the intensity that he's bringing and the focus. See, he got a little bit off track there, and they were able to, run a game on him. And now that he realizes that he's been had, he's coming back like a person who's been not only had, but coming back mad. It's like, okay, he wants to clear the plate and clear the slate, and you can't blame him. But also, as I said, this is one of those situations where, you've woken a sleeping giant, and this giant, where they like to call him a one-trick pony, not in your life is he a one-trick pony. This man medaled in the Olympics, okay, even though it was a bronze medal. With a short time of being an amateur, he was in the Olympics and found himself medaling. Where's Tyson Fury's medal? If he's such a darn good boxer. Well, I'll tell you where it is. It's around this man. And this man is coming for his. And you can believe that if that third fight does come off, he's going to get that chance and show you exactly what boxing is all about. Because, I think he's going to knock Fury out in the third fight. But I also think that the way he goes about it is going to be a surprise to everybody that's out there. they were saying that Fury was having a hard time getting past the guys he hired as sparring partners in his camp, which is one of the reasons why you don't go out there and get some of the best young hopefuls in the game today to train, okay, and to train with and spar with if you ain't been fighting that caliber of competition in your career. How about that, huh? Mr. Fury going out there and getting in the ring with these young lions who are ready to take his head off, huh? And that's what they was doing in sparring. You don't get out there against quality opposition that you haven't even faced the likes of in the ring and fight those guys in the gym, and they could see all your shortcomings and everything, and they capitalized. They were in there beating the crap out of this dude. Every time you saw him after he had gone into training, he was touched up, face all bruised up, mouth busted up and everything. Yeah, one eye swollen and the other one looked like it's getting ready to swell. These guys was having their way with him, huh? As they should. Now, why wasn't he practicing on his one-punch KO power when he was in there with those guys? I'll tell you why. Because Sugar Hill had it all wrong. It was the other guys that had one-punch KO power, not him, huh? They was beating him up, knocking him out on his feet and knocking him on his fat butt, huh? And he said, oh, this is enough of this. I got to go back home and get me some juice or something, huh? Yeah, that's what he did. But you can run, but you can't hide, brother. You can run, but you can't hide. We got D. Hodges out there. He says, what up, Stormy in chat? LDBC. Salute everyone. And my man, CB Sports TV is out there. Says, salute, Stormy B, man. Salute to you, CB. Good to see you, man. He said, just stop by. Got to get back to the baby. That's right. It's going to be a lot of that, man. It ain't over, man. For the rest of your life, you're going to have to get back to the baby. And then wait till the grandbabies come. Yeah. Then you're going to be like me. Huh? When the grandbabies come. So think about it. Just get you a couple of diapers before you get back to the baby. Get them in your hands and keep them ready, huh? Especially if it's been dinner time. But yeah, man, this is all what it is, man. With these two camps. Personally, I don't think Mr. Fury is going to go with it. I think he's going to, in the 11th hour, pull on up out of there, because that's the one thing he can hold over Deontay, is not giving him his shot. But if he gets in there with him, he's got to take the shots. And it ain't no fun when the angry one got the gun, huh? Because that's what's going to happen, man. I'm telling you, it'll be a blowout. If you guys remember Tyson and Michael Spinks, Joe Louis and Max Schmeling too. Yeah, that's how I see this going. I don't see it going past 3 or 4 rounds, man. I don't. This guy's going to be hit like he never been hit in his life. And it ain't going to be from slugging. It's going to be from everything that's calculatingly landing, properly positioned and placed right in his ass. That's right. So that's what we're looking forward to. Smash that like button as you come in, people. Smash that like button. So last week, there was someone that I had wanted to speak on that I didn't get a chance to. And I thought I'd kind of come in this week and mention this young man. Just for a moment, we're going to talk about him. But I'm trying to look at my board here. You know how you have stuff set up and then when you go back and look for it, you don't see it? Pardon me 1 second. I'm just double checking my screen here. Yeah, I don't have it on there. I must have took it out of the slate. So I can't talk about that person right now because I don't have him in there, because I had something to show with him as well. I see my man Big Homie Coop is falling into the building. He says, salute Sifu, Stormy B Man. He says, back smack that like button, people. Yes, sir. That's my brother out there, Big Homie Coop, always showing love and support in there. And listen, man, has anybody seen Taylor Bell? My man Taylor Bell, who had been a huge supporter, and he helped me out a great deal with the channel and moderating the chats and stuff like that. The brother's been missing now for 2 weeks. He hasn't been around here at the Stormy B Man channel, and I haven't seen him on the other channels that I've known him to be on. I just hope that the brother is okay. I don't, when you see something like this, people, when you don't see family that you normally would see under most auspices every show or broadcast or whatever, start to question things. They make sure people are all right. You know what I mean? We've got this terrible situation going on out here with people getting ill and stuff. You just need to reach out and make sure everybody is good. I've tried to get a hold of the brother, and I haven't been able to get a hold of him. So I hope that someone can reach him and that we find out that he's okay, because that's what's most important, that he and his family is okay. And I just want to make certain of that, man. Just want to make certain. But Big Homie says, you're always giving us gems, and you are appreciated, Sifu. I appreciate you, man. I really do. I try, man. I try. But I'm only human. You know what I mean? I can make mistakes like anyone else. Let's move on to the next subject that I had here. I wanted to talk about your boy Canelo Alvarez and the promotion that has fallen apart between he and Caleb Plant. Man, what happened here, right? What happened here? I don't know, but I got a feeling I know what's happened here. And it's Canelo don't want no smoke with somebody who ain't gonna make it easy for him. That's it at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And it's a shame because Caleb Plant, amongst other fighters in boxing, they need those opportunities to show their wares against people who are so held with a certain regard, to see exactly where they place in the sport. And if you're not going to give these guys opportunities, they're never going to get that chance to grow. And see, I'll tell you, a lot of people don't want to see a fighter like Caleb Plant in there with Canelo, because he might provide Canelo with a chance to lose, because he boxes with the same type of skill set that the prototype fighter to defeat Canelo fights with. And that would be hand speed, snap and power on the punches, good jab, lateral movement, being able to, be in and out, give you angles, decent boxing IQ, and someone who's not just going to fight one way, someone who can adjust and adjust on the fly if necessary. Canelo likes to give his opponents very few options, and that's contractually leading all the way up to what happens and transpires in a fight. And we've seen it time and time again. It's amazing that the people haven't really caught on to that, but we see it over and over. And when are people going to catch on to it? Because he's not giving anyone a fair shake when he gets in there. He always likes to have his own little advantages. He wants to be able to dictate ring sizes and how long you got to prepare for him and all of that kind of foolishness. You know, he's always pulling those strings to dictate everything. And that's not cool. You know, Canelo, he uses the contract negotiations to provide leverage for himself and take any semblance of leverage away from his potential opponents, man. And you know, I'm just sick of it. I don't know about you guys, but when you see someone behaving like that, and you know that's the way that he goes into matches, you know, you don't respect that. You don't respect it, because he is a good fighter, and he's too good of a fighter to be trying to strip other people of what their assets are. You know what I mean? It's like, that's ridiculous. It's like, and like right now, I understand that he might be trying to get Dmitry Bivol to fight him at a catch weight. Why? Why? You were supposed to be campaigning for undisputed at super middleweight. Now you want to take the man who's a light heavyweight champion, huh? You fought Kovalev at light heavyweight. Why do you want this man to meet you at a catch weight? You didn't ask Kovalev to meet you at a catch weight, huh? And this man has had time off and in the gym and preparing, so it's like you ain't catching him cold, but you want him now to drain down a little bit. You see, this is what I'm talking about Canelo. And if you guys can continue to put up and accept that from him, then to hell with you too. Because what you're seeing is someone who is trying to operate and utilize the status of the name that he's been granted in the sport. And I said granted because he hasn't earned that. And he's manipulating circumstances where he has all the advantages. That's not cool. That's not respectable, huh? Because at the end of the day, if both guys, if you lock them in the dungeon and you saw who come out, it ain't going to be the redhead cheetah, huh? It ain't. So, salute to the channel member DT out there. He says, salute at STORMYBMAN in chat. Big homie Coop says, I seen him in 78 Sports TV chat. You did? Okay, was that today, big homie Coop, that you saw him in there? Please put it in there, write a response to my question, because all I want to know is that if the brother is okay. Because if he decided not to come around the STORMYBMAN channel again or whatever, that's fine. But it's like, you know, when you reach out and you try to check up, and it's like, okay, people, you know, if he's decided to go a different direction, that's great. But it's like, I just want to know that the dude was okay. Big homie says, I agree. Canelo can't make up his mind. He wants to fight old men or younger fighters who don't have the experience, or he just cripples you with an extreme weight clause. It's not just the extreme weight clause. It's so many details in the contract that he puts that stuff in there. The weight clause, rehydration clauses, weight limits that you have to be on by a certain time and after a certain time, the size of the ring, huh? All kinds of different things, man. And this guy, he does this, and it's like, what? Okay. I see you, big homie Coop. Appreciate you. D-Lo 404 Boxing is out there, says, salute all. He says, Bivol is a few KOs, bad habits, and years away from Canelo fighting him on the up and up. Yeah, he's not going to fight him on the up and up. He's going to make sure that that's what he does. And at the same time, it's like the whole thing about being tantalized with a larger purse that you never had before or something like that, you know, makes a difference, man. It makes a difference. So, let's see. Big homie Coop says, KK Kovalev was old. Bivol is not so. he gets the weight clause. Don't forget, he's giving you 6 weeks to train. Man, that's crazy, man. That is absolutely nuts that these guys would allow Canelo to dictate to them like that, man. What is really going on? What is really going on? That's unacceptable. If I were working out of his camp, I wouldn't even, out of Bivol's camp, I'd be like, dude, no, we can't do that. We're not going to do this. We're not going to accept these terms. This guy is coming in here. He's trying to cripple you, you know. Okay, there's the acknowledgement of the super chat. We got Big Dog Willie out there in that super chat. He says, Canelo versus Hagler. Who you got? Man, Big Dog Willie, why would you come in here and be so disrespectful on the Stormy B Man channel? I thought that you were really cool, but now that you come out there like that, I see that you think Stormy is a fool, and I ain't. And I ain't going to even answer that, but I'll say I appreciate your donation to the channel, and I appreciate that you sit back to the back of the class, enjoy this D+, and listen to the rest of the show. Put tape on your mouth and maybe put tape on your fingers so you can't type on that keyboard and put some ridiculous stuff like that in my chat again. Okay? Don't do it. You know, like they say, when somebody got a bad habit and you trying to get them off cold turkey, when y'all see Big Dog Willie out there trying to write in the chat again, tell him, don't do it, Big Dog. Don't do it. Huh? Let me welcome my man, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, to the show. What's going on with you, Reggie? How you doing this evening, brother? And how was your week?
Oh, man, doing good. I'm glad this week over with, but had a pretty good week. I can't complain.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Here we are. It's Friday, man. The week has gone by pretty fast. We had a fight Tuesday night, Reggie, on the Triller on Fight TV. And you know what? Mike Hunter took on that guy that he fought in the amateurs. And let me say this, Reggie, about Hunter. I swear to God, he goes in there and when he fights, he puts everything on his shots, man. He really does. But he took this guy out, man, in like the 5th round or whatever, and he hit him with what I call now one of them Tank Davis uppercuts, man. Oh, my goodness. Were you able to see that, or did you hear about it?
Yeah, I caught the highlight to it because I think the fight came on a little bit too early before I got off.
Yeah. What were your thoughts?
It was a nice knockout highlight. The highlight I saw, but I didn't watch the fight, and that's the day I was waiting for that rap battle. So I was more focused on that rap battle because really I didn't even know he was fighting that day.
Okay, yeah, but it was a good fight though. It was a good fight. I thought that he did pretty good. He took care of the guy in great fashion, like he was supposed to. You know what I mean? It's funny. See, like, he is a guy that you can put in with one of these other fighters, and he's gonna tell the truth on the fighter. I don't think he'll get a shot at AJ or anybody like that, but he's definitely the type of fighter that would give AJ trouble because he's shorter than AJ, but he likes to get in close and crowd you and, you know, lay his hands on you. And AJ don't like guys close to him. Unfortunately, counter to what outside the ring, you know, when he taking them pictures with baby oil all on him and he's got all these dudes close around him outside the ring. But in boxing, he don't like guys all up on him and close and crowding him and whatnot, which is interesting within itself. But yeah, I digress. We were cooking just before you popped on the Caleb Plant fight, you know, with Canelo falling apart. Did you have anything that you wanted to add to that, or any thoughts that you have on that?
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. And like I was been telling these Canelo defenders for a while, the boy is scared of this kid, Caleb Plant. Not for the fact that he thinks Caleb will knock him out, but he's worried about suffering a loss to Caleb Plant and losing his position of still being a financial diva within the sport. It cuts away his leverage to go in here and face a fighter that could possibly beat him. And I think that's one of the things to avoid. And also, I think there's another thing. Canelo may be trying to cycle off or something. That's the other thing that comes to mind. And I think Plant was the one who brought it up, is the fact that he has not signed a contract. Therefore, drug testing doesn't begin. And that could be one of the factors. Now they're moving this event all the way to November. So I think that takes away Canelo trying to get the amount of fights he's trying to have for the year. And they still haven't named the opponent. And who are they going to the table against? There's just a lot of suspect stuff when it comes to Canelo. His decision making, everything that the PBC was offering him was almost one of them offers that you could not turn down. And who turns it down? Canelo. And what's the reason to turn it down? Because he faces tough opposition. If Caleb Plant was Liam Smith, Caleb Plant was Rocky Fielding, if Caleb Plant was Billy Joe Saunders, he would not have faced any of that. Canelo would have took the fight. But now that he's faced someone who's coming in with that type of style that Canelo faces a little bit of adversity against, he makes it difficult to even want to deal with the guy. But the problem is, these folks are saying yes to everything. They ain't giving no pushback or anything. They're saying yes to everything. So why ain't this fight happening? There's something suspicious behind his reason behind doing that. And Canelo can fight. I won't take that away from him. But this style thing, it bothers him. And therefore, he's trying to stay away from him. And then hopefully he's trying to make it to where Caleb's just like, oh, forget this guy. I'm going to take another fight. Canelo's going to stay on his head. And these other fighters who Canelo may try to get to step in there, these fighters need to start acting intelligent and keep the price where the price is at. $10 million, $8 million and above, nothing less. I don't know what the heck Bivol is going to take, but Bivol needs to smarten up and not lower the standards on what you're supposed to make fighting a Canelo fight, especially if it's going to be, he's making $40 million, keep the budget at 50. But that's my thoughts.
Yeah, you know something too, Reggie, you made a great point there, is like Canelo he painted himself in the corner, really, because just like with the negotiation ploy that he pulled with Plant's camp, saying that, even if, Plant got hurt or something, he'll have to, lose his opportunity and Canelo could go on and fight someone else. And Canelo wants to do that under the same contractual guarantees, meaning that if it's a lesser opponent or something, he could still rake in the $40 million. Well, see, bingo, you hear the alarm going off. Bivol needs to pay attention to that, because just because you want to come out there and you think you're going to like weight drain me, or you're going to run all these damn particularities contractually by me, let's talk about that money first and foremost. If you want that $40 million, like you said, Reggie, keep that budget at 50 and I get 10 out of it. No less, nothing like that. Hold that guy's feet to the fire, because you set this up that way. And then, even though you had asked this guy, meaning Plant, for all of these provisions, we're not taking all of that, because we're a champion up here. And you're trying to, now we thought you were trying to go for undisputed, right? Which is a bigger stake for you. But now you want to come up here and mess with us. So you got to pay the price to come up here and mess with us. It shouldn't be just like, oh, it's Canelo, let's accept the terms. Let's just fight him. No, You have to, you know, and see, that's where Kovalev messed up, you know, and I actually think that Kovalev laid down for him. I don't think that Bivol will lay down for him, but I do think that he'll concede to the bright lights of it being Canelo. And this is the other thing I wanted to say about that. Had this man been facing the opponents he should be facing, meaning Canelo, and rematching people who deserved to get rematches against him, he'd have more losses on his record. Okay, but that doesn't, even if we're predicting or projecting that he would have lost to several people that he avoided fighting, that does not mean he's not a good fighter. And that's what we want the haters to understand, is that we're not talking about him being a bad fighter. He makes bad moves when it comes to accepting challenges, because you want to be labeled great. You want to accept the role of someone calling you the face of boxing, but you have a certain responsibility that goes with that. And that is to face the challenges, the real challenges that might be there for you, win, lose, or draw. And the fact that you don't want to do that means that I can't call you great, because you're not being put to the task of someone who's proven to be great from past. You understand? It's like when Bernard Hopkins was undisputed at middleweight, he fought everybody in the middleweight division. And some of those opponents he faced, Reggie and Chat, he faced them 3 times, if not 2. Check Bernard Hopkins' record and you'll find trilogies with several opponents, rematches with a few opponents. It was the thing that you had to do to show superiority, or to at least provide a sense of separation between you and that guy. Canelo doesn't do that. And every time he fights someone who does have a name, there is always a circumstance that's centered around that. It's not just a heads up, I'm fighting so-and-so. And even when he's fighting these guys that you know on paper that he should get, like when he was on his UK tour, you understand that it was like there was nothing about any of these guys that made you say, oh, I think he's going to give Canelo a rough go. Nothing. Who the hell wants to be walking around in a sport like that? But I'll tell you, he represents the mindset of a lot of the people of our present society, Reggie. People who get paid or awarded or rewarded for half-assed jobs and possibly doing nothing, and having what they call, I got a sweet gig here. I got a sweet bit here. You know, I ain't got to do nothing. I ain't even got to break a sweat. Well, you're in the wrong sport, man, because we like to see the sweat get broke, and sometimes some bones and faces and stuff like that. So you get your butt up out of here, Canelo, with that foolishness. What else you got on that, Reg?
Yeah, man, I hope there's a strategy that these fighters can come up with to kind of put Canelo in the shadows. But the other issue is his delusional fans. And maybe this is not a good look. Maybe his fans began to view him in the light of possibly not being what some of even the Mexican legends have spoke about Canelo. He's not that dude. He's not a legend based on what they see him doing. The other Mexican legends have fought the toughest of the tough, and they're seeing Canelo at this point in his career where he's waited so long and began to age himself, to now he's facing young, tough competition that he could have faced years ago, and this competition has become more of complete fighters. And I think that's going to end up working out of his favor, being that he has waited so late, and these guys have started to peak within their careers. And then you hear him talking about fighting. He has this tendency of fighting guys who are smaller than him, getting them to move up. Not talking all that little crafty stuff he did at 175, because he pulled off a lot of crafty stuff. But having welterweights move up to try to fight him, past prime fighters to step up to fight him. He just has names on the record, but now all these folks have have been in their prime. He's tried to catch them at points where he thought they were Father Time had caught up with them and they were out of whack. He was hoping to catch fighters like that. The American fighting the small welterweight with a weak chin, comes up. And matter of fact, Khan was like a 140 pounder, to be honest, with a weak chin, come up there and Khan was schooling him. Watch him avoid the Charlos, then the Triple G fight, which there's some suspect stuff in that first fight, but came back, battled his way into win against Triple G. But Triple G thing is that he doesn't bring anything dynamic to the sport, to a fight, except power. He's durable, and that's about it. But now going in here where you have fighters with greater footwork who can change the pace of a fight, change the range of a fight, more difficulty to a fight. He's prolonging stuff, making things difficult for these guys. And I think that's just whack. I think that's something that affects his legacy as well. But that's my thoughts with that.
Yeah, and it's funny because when you point out what we're pointing out, mind you, we're not saying he's not a good fighter. We're not saying that, because he's a good fighter. But imagine the Mexican legends that have issue with him. The reason that they have issue with him is because they see that he has talent, but they don't like the fact that he doesn't want to test himself. Even his former promoter and Oscar tested himself, man. Yes, Oscar got a few gift decisions in his career, but I'll tell you, Oscar fought everybody, man, and he stayed away from a couple of fighters who could have fought him in his career, like a Freddie Pendleton or something, someone who could have really made him look bad at a time when he was still on an up climb and he was learning and things like that. And that was a dangerous opponent for him to fight. But when you talk about him fighting guys like Ike Cortez and stuff like that, he's in there with good fighters that I thought, like Ike Cortez, could have got that decision against him, and a couple of other fighters as well. But I just want to say he got in there with the guys at least. Canelo is finding ways to get away from the guys, and he's talented. It would be different if you take like that kid, Joey Spencer, right? We know Joey is limited. But imagine if Joey kept getting fights, because he's still relatively young in his career. But say he got to that contender status, and then they positioned him for a title fight. And then they just started fighting. He started fighting all these Eastern European guys who got horrible records, and guys that it's like the equivalent of what we call Uber drivers and stuff like that. It's like, okay, you could clearly see, because they would be maneuvering Joey to keep him safe, keep him, a TV idol and things like that. That would be different, because you could see it like, okay, man, as soon as Joey fight one of those real dudes, they're going to have their way with him. But with Canelo, that's not the case. He's good. So it's like, why are you still acting like the other dude? Why are you still doing the things that they do for a person who doesn't have the substance? If you're going to accept that role, I can't give you the role that you're trying to claim. I can't give that to you. I have to give it to these guys who are out there getting it out of the mud. You see, at the end of the day, you're talking about men who compete and men who work hard or go, they roll their sleeves up and blue collar and things like that. As you stated, fighting a guy like a Amir Khan, that didn't do much. Okay, fighting a guy like what was his name, Cotto, that didn't do much. It's like you took that wasn't even nowhere near the best of Cotto. Okay, and we know what happened with he and Margarito. But Canelo is out here feasting on people's blood, man. And it's like he's like a mosquito that gets you, and before you can slap him off or whatever, he gets away. Next thing you know, he bit you in another spot, then he bit you in another spot, and it's like you can't kill him, you know? And he's been doing this for a while. We just want to see him in there against quality opposition. If he got in there with either of the Charlos or even both of them, and say he beat one and lost to the other, or he lost to both, or he beat both, he will have earned the respect for having done so, win, lose, or draw. You by avoiding them, which is what he did, it's like, okay, that looks suspect. And then every time he's fighting someone that's either older than him, on the downside of their career and things of that nature, I'm like, dude, you can't fool me with this shenanigans. And let me say this, Reggie, I pointed this out a few years ago when he defeated Chavez Jr., right? He said after that fight, oh, I'm not fighting any more Mexican fighters, right? But people thought at that time, it was like, okay, he don't want to fight his own people and this and that. He's probably, it's a Mexican pride thing or whatever. No, that was bull crap. What it was that he saw David Benavidez in the sights before people started connecting the dots. And he was like, So he put that out there. So guess what happened? When he started going up near those weights and everything where Benavidez was, or above it or whatever, no one ever put that fight together. It never came off the lips of anyone. Oh, how about Canelo take on Benavidez? And he put that out there, right? So it's like you naturally don't think of it. But as soon as Benavidez got stripped from his title for the weight thing and everything, here comes Canelo trying to scoop the belt up. It's like, but you didn't want to fight a Mexican fighter, according to your words. But you're not fooling me. It wasn't that you didn't want to fight a Mexican fighter. You didn't want to fight that badass Mexican dude there whose style is a style that is difficult for you. And the fact that he could possibly not only beat you, because he's so young, he could have a career going forward and eat off of the victory over you for a long time, because he's pretty damn good. That kid is only 23, 24 years old or something. So if Canelo would have faced him and gotten beat down by him, how bad and damaging would it have looked for Canelo, and how prosperous and bright the future could be for Benavidez? And all of a sudden, he becomes the Mexican that gets the accolades and the adornment and things of that nature. You see what I'm saying? But did you pick up on that, Reggie? Because I sure did. I started thinking about it as soon as he went there and scooped up that belt that they had stripped from Benavidez.
Yeah, I thought he was a sucker for that. And Benavidez wasn't even rocking with it. Everything's calculated with this cat, man. And some people, I guess he tried to push it over as being prideful as a Mexican. We shouldn't knock each other off. And that's why I always say I hate when I hear people say stay on code and all that. That code stuff is suckers. Canelo ain't staying on code. He pulling sucker stuff. And anytime people pull this type of stuff, they own some sneaky sucker stuff. And that's exactly what he's trying to pull by avoiding these tougher Mexican fighters, by using language such as not fighting another Mexican fighter. Some people may be fooled and blinded and going along with it and not realizing and pulling themselves away from financial opportunities by this guy speaking this type of stuff. Benavidez said, F that. Well, if you ain't fighting Mexicans, well, I ain't Mexican. I'm some other stuff. I'm an Arizonian, and we gonna fight. And then for Canelo to steal his belt like that, so you're gonna hold on to this other Mexican fighter's belt, pull him away from opportunities of making other money. Benavidez ain't rocking with none of that clown stuff. It's either you get in the ring or you drop these belts. Same thing with the Charlos was putting pressure on Floyd. Either you gonna keep fighting or you gonna drop them belts. Get the heck up out of here. We ain't playing none of that crap. We respect you as a legend, but we ain't here to make money as well. We ain't here to set legacy. You gonna either fight us as much as we love and idolize you, or you need to get the hell up out of here. And same thing that Benavidez has said with Charlo. Not sure what other Mexican fighters up there who has the potential of fighting him has also stated. But it's just sucker moves from Canelo because once again, he pulls that stuff when the competition for Mexican fighters had become stiff and tough. And it won't be too long before, if he didn't make those statements, it won't be too long, unless some Mexican fans are still blinded by it, it won't be too long before other Mexican fans start to demand Canelo fight one of their favorite fighters. If a fighter from down there in Mexico starts to build their name up, build pride and support around them, they're going to start calling out Canelo. And he's going to have no other choice but to fight him. And they have to put that pressure on Canelo. Benavidez was vocal about putting pressure on him because he just wants to fight everybody. He ain't got no friends. His only friends is his family. So, but that's all I have with that.
Yeah, and do you remember, Reggie, just a couple of fights ago, you know, in Canelo's outing with Yildirim, right? On that night that he fought Yildirim, he could have fought Darrell because remember, that was for that belt, you know, and Darrell had lost to Benavidez. Remember when he lost with the cut and all of that? So it's like it would have been a grand opportunity for Canelo to fight another contemporary for that belt and everything. And they even fought on the same night where they delayed Canelo's fight to after the Darrell fight, remember? And then Darrell won, but Canelo fought Yildirim, and Yildirim hardly threw any punches in the fight. And then this fight that Yildirim just lost, his first comeback fight, before the on the card that we just had, what was it, 2 weekends ago, Yildirim threw more fights in the first round of that fight than he threw in 3 rounds against Canelo. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this, you can see he's fighting a lot of men with their hands tied. And if they don't have their hands tied, their feet are tied. If their feet aren't tied, their weights are tied. It's something, it's always a handicap for him. And I'm telling you, they're not fooling me with this one, Reggie. He gonna fight Triple G a third time. But you know what the plan was? To age him totally out so that there is no question whatsoever. When he goes in there, he probably stops Triple G the next time they fight. Why else? It's like, you notice, Triple G ain't fighting nobody. And the last fight he fought, he had very much difficulty there. So it's like, dude, it's okay for Canelo to beat Triple G up and push him on into retirement, but nobody else, no Demetrius Andrade, no Jamal Charlos or any of those guys, or even what's his name, Eubank Jr. or any of those younger guys. And I'm not saying, or the young man Yard, Anthony Yard, those guys, he ain't fighting those guys. Notice, he ain't fighting them because they're young, they're upcomers, and they're guys who are in the midst of being able to do what they can do, but he is not facing those men. And those are the men who could provide the challenge. Now just imagine this, Reggie. Those names that I just ran off, Darrell, Charlo, Andrade, Yard, there was one more I said, I think, Benavidez or whatever. Imagine this. That's like 5 guys, right? What if Canelo fought those guys and beat all of them? Then we would have to take our hat off to him, right? We would have to not take our hat off just on the general principle of fighting those guys, but had he defeated them, or like 3 of the 5 or 2 of the 5, you have to take your hat off and say, well, you know what? At least he got in the ring with those guys. And you know what? He is a damn good fighter. He's going to be a legend. We can start handing him what he thinks he's earned already, but he hasn't earned it yet. And that's the problem. That's where this discussion, where we wrap that up in a bow, because those are people who could test him, who could say, okay, and there's no guarantee that Charlo beats him. There's no guarantee. I think the only one that the only two that I think really beat him hands down on paper are Andre, because of his style, and Benavidez, because of the way he fights. The way Benavidez fights, it's kind of like he's the Joe Joyce of that division. He will come on like a wave, but he's got much faster hands than Joe Joyce. He's really strong. He has what I found out just in the past 8-9 months by hearing interviews with him and everything. He has a lot of experience, Reggie, from when he was a teenager being in there with top flight fighters. So that's why Benavidez is so good. He has been in there. He's like Andy Ruiz Jr., who was in there very young in the gym with Holyfield and people like that. So it's like when you have that type of experience going for you, and you're capable of handling yourself when the lights are on, when it's a live boxing match, that's good stuff. And that's the type of pedigree that Benavidez has. Demetrius Andrade is the type of fighter. He fights down to the quality and level of his opposition, but he's still talented enough to do a lot of the things that really make Canelo uncomfortable. And one of those is movement, being able to give the angles and not just stand there stiffly like Canelo likes you to do. And Demetrius can punch. So, and being a southpaw, catching Canelo off on these weird angles and stuff like that, it's not going to be an easy night for him whatsoever. The Billy Joe Saunders thing, that would not even come into play. The only thing they could try to bank on is that Demetrius Andrade would get a little starstruck under the lights of being in there with Canelo. But I tell you, once the fists start flying, that is a total different thing. And I'll tell you something. He probably would turn up because of who he's in there with, and he would be, feeling good about that opportunity. But I'm telling you, man, it's like this is a discussion. I'm glad we're having it on the air because, again, we're telling the truth about the situation. We're not putting no one down. We're just saying what a lot of people want to try to ignore and sweep under the rug. And that's it at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, but hey, man, let's get into some conversation about the fights that are going to take place tomorrow. I know early in the day we've got a card with the DAZN card where we got Galahad and Dickens too. I don't know if you remember their first fight, Reggie, but that first fight was a bit of a surprise upset there. But this rematch here is interesting that is going to take place. Mr. Ed Hearn, one thing he'll do is for fighters like this, he'll give them that opportunity to have those rematches. And I noticed that about Hearn. He will do that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's supporting somebody, but maybe he's looking to pay back that cost or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like he might have lost some money on a guy or whatever, so he gonna make sure they get their butt back in there, and then he have a chance to get his money back. But what are your thoughts on that early DAZN card?
I don't know too much about it. I'll have to catch it tomorrow, but I don't know if that's the fight where Is that the fight? I remember Galahad had a fight that I think was stolen from him, so I'm not sure if that's the opponent, but I really don't know too much about it. But I like Kid Galahad, so I'll probably get up to watch that one.
Yeah, and on the undercard of that heavyweight, Fabio Wardley is back, and then there's some guy, Florian Marcoux, is taking on Maxim Prodan, and that's for the IBF International Welterweight title. So that's like an international title. And then the Savage Babic is back, and he's taking on some dude named Mark Bennett, who's 7-1 with 1 KO. So of course that's not a guy who can punch. And last time we saw Babic in there, he was getting hit by a dude, but the dude couldn't punch. So it's like he was tagging Babic at first, and then when Babic found out that he could walk through his shots, he just went on and took the dude out, you know. So it's like, you know, I don't know, man. I consider Babic the modern day Butterbean, because when Butterbean arrived on ESPN, boy, they showcased him, but he was like a novelty act, and that's kind of the way I'm looking at Babic. He's like a tough man from the Tough Man Contest Championships, and they put him in the ring with boxing, and they give him guys who can't get out the way of him and whatnot. But as soon as he's in there with a technically sound boxer who can stick and move and give angles and start catching him coming in and stuff, it's gonna be over for him. Just like when my man Rosado caught that dude Brett the bully. Remember him? Just got knocked out a couple months ago. So I see the same thing happening to Babic, but you know, it depends, you know, when they finally decide to put him up there. But knowing how Ed Hearn does things, he'll be able to feast on guys like this for a while. So we might not we might see Babic, who's 7-0 with 7 KOs. We might see him go to 14-0 or 15-0 or something like that easy before they really put him in there with somebody that could give him any semblance of a challenge. You know what I'm saying? So those are my thoughts on that, Reggie.
Is Babic and them the ones who are at the scale slapping each other?
Yeah. And he got that, you know, that big head, and he got a mustache and beard. Just a funny looking dude, you know. But he's just basically a tough man. That's all. Tough man.
Yeah, I might check those out, but I'm definitely see what Galahad does in this fight and see if he can avenge that one.
Yeah. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, man, you know, fighters like him, you can put them on the card. It's like for filler and for entertainment and everything. But he ain't winning no championships, Reggie. That's just hands down. He don't have that talent. He doesn't have championship caliber talent. And he's an older dude, too. I think he's in his late 30s or something like that. But, he, you know, the novelty act. You got to have some novelty acts sometimes. And Don King was a master of that. Christy Martin was a novelty act for Don, and it turned into something lucrative because Christy was, she caught on. You know, people liked her and stuff. And that brought Layla Ali into boxing because she was sitting up watching Christy Martin on a Don King pay-per-view broadcast. That's why Layla got into boxing. So it's like, when you think about it, it's something that you can do, but it's got to have a story, you know, something for people to get lit. And I guess because I'm aware of the Butterbean factor with ESPN, and over here, people over there, because that's Ed Hearn's Matchroom Promotions, they don't know. So it's like, you know, oh yeah, this guy Babic, and they talk about him like he's like some kind of, you know, real, you know, entity, but it's just a novelty act till you get in there with somebody who can fight back. Ask Michael Coffey, huh? Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, and the other one, Reggie, want to talk about is the Fox card that will have, you know, my man on there. And you know, I've talked about the young man for a minute, but that Imantas Stanionis, and he's taking on Luis COLLAZO. Now, Reggie, I'll let you talk about this one, but it's a headline. It's a headline according to Fox's advertising of it, but there is a what do you call a co-main here, and the co-main, I'm trying to look it up here. The co-main is a welterweight fight between Mastre and Fox. Now this fight might be the fight of the night. Gabriel Mastre and Michael Fox, and that's for an interim WBA welterweight title in the co-main. That could be the fight of the night. But Stanionis taking on COLLAZO is the fight that I want to see, because it's my boy Stanionis. I've been watching him. He's like a little Ivan Drago to me. He's coming on, you know, and he's a welterweight. He's a little bit behind Victor Ortiz and Jaron Ennis, or I should say Jaron Ennis and Victor Ortiz, because Victor Ortiz is behind Ennis as far as I rate them. And Stanionis is a guy who's kind of bringing up the rear. I think that Stanionis will be a guy who could beat the crap out of Victor Ortiz. But, you know, again, that's I could see that coming, you know, later down the line. But Luis COLLAZO is the type of fighter he's a truth serum. You know, we saw him years ago when he gave Keith Thurman some problems out there, and Keith Thurman didn't like it either. You know, it's like he was the first one to expose Keith having trouble when you go to his body. And he also comes to fight every time, and he said this is going to be his last fight. I don't like when fighters announce it's going to be their last fight before they even fight, because you don't know how much they're going to be bringing into the ring with them. If their intent is to go out with a bang, or to go out when they get banged. So I want to say, you know, we will find out. But what are your thoughts, Reggie?
I think this is a great step-up test for Stanionis to really kind of project where he's headed by putting him in here against a veteran like COLLAZO, just to see what he's able to do. See, because COLLAZO's going to come forward with some tough action. He's going to try to pull the best up out of this kid. He's here to test to see where this kid can go, to see if this kid is ready to move up. And this is Stanionis' night to come out here and perform and realize what threats. He can't overlook COLLAZO for age or any of that, because at any moment these older fighters can come out here and have one of these great nights to where Father Time doesn't show up. And his job is to really push and test this kid and see if this kid is worthy of going to the next level, where the promotional company PBC is looking to take this kid forward. And COLLAZO plays an important piece in Stanionis' career forward, or his career back to the drawing tables, to see what improvements he needs. And Stanionis has a team that comes in with pretty good game plan for fights. It could either be a tough fight if this kid doesn't fight an intelligent fight, listen to his team, pay attention to what's going on, and fight his fight, protect himself, use his youth, press the action where he's strongest at, use that advantage against COLLAZO. And if he can break COLLAZO, this kid's stock rise once again, and it's great to see him once again on a main event. So they're pushing him forward. So this is a big night for Stanionis, and hopefully he can deliver. And hopefully COLLAZO comes in here healthy and pushes this kid to the test, because that's what these young fighters are supposed to have in front of them. It's tough tests. Nothing should come easy, so that way they don't fool themselves when they are stepping into these opportunities of shooting for a title, that they don't come up short and embarrass themselves. So I'm looking for a good night, looking for this kid to prove himself too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for, like I said, it was about 3 fights ago that I discovered Eimantas Stanionis, and I was impressed. But I'll explain what impressed me. But I want to acknowledge a couple of people in the chat there. I know Trick Nolte had popped in there. He said, "Salute Stormy." Salute to you, Trick Nolte. We had Pull Counter Boxing out there. World Combat Sports was out there, and D-Lo said he was checking out. Troll Killer Mr. Shelton is out there, and Eric R., my man, is out there. Michael James 616 is out there as well. Salute to everybody. And if I missed anyone, apologize, because Reggie and I was just cooking on the subjects at hand. But it was not my intent to miss any of the family that came into the chat, because everybody that's in the chat, understand this, is that they have earned their stripes to be here, because I did put that limit on there and whatnot. So these are people that are considered family as far as contributing to the channel and the shows and the chats. So if I forgot to call your name out, charge it to my head and not my heart. What I saw in Stanionis early on, Reggie, was he had a aggressive disposition to not take a step backward. In today's boxing, that means a lot. And if you go back to a different generation, just a generation before, there were tons of fighters like that. But watch boxing. There's not a lot of guys that do that take that step forward and don't step back. Now, what I said that he would need to do as he went forward was to make certain that picking shots off with his gloves, his shoulders, and things like that, and being more mindful of defense, because he's going to face guys who will set traps for him. And everyone that he has fought up to this point has not necessarily been punchers. Now, guys who can punch, that's where the defense, him showing up his defense is going to have to come into play. But also, I like how he rips to the body. Man, it's always great to see great body workers, right? It's like this guy goes to the body like a machine. I like that. And he breaks people down over the rounds. He wears them down over the rounds. He applies a lot of pressure. He has a very good stiff jab, and he works behind it, but I think he could work behind it a lot more than he does. But just to, and it's not like, oh, I think he's going to beat everybody out there. Nothing. He's a nice young prospect that I like to look at. And when he's fighting, just like I like to look at Conor Benn. Some people think that Conor Benn is crap. I know my man Laws D, Punch Out TV, we talk about it. He's like, oh, Stormy, Conor Benn is crap. I don't like that guy, blah, blah, blah. And I say, hey, I like Conor Benn. He fights with a passion that it seems like he got some of his dad's hot blood in him in the ring, and that's pretty cool. You need some guys who bring something that's really just not out there when they can provide that. It's like, remember, we got a lot of wusses out there, Reggie. There's a lot of them. So it's like when you get guys that are spirited and guys who want to come on and challenge and stuff like that, that's always a great thing. You know what I mean? And these guys are vulnerable. They have shortcomings and things like that, but that's okay. It's a part of the process. But wait till they get in there against your favorite guy or whatever, and you find out your favorite guy ain't what you thought he was. Because a guy like this or Conor Ben or something may upset them. And it's like, hey, that's why we watch the sport. How many times have we saw upsets? Kurt Sugar and I like to talk about when Tommy Hearns got knocked out by Iran Barkley. He was beating the crap out of Barkley. Had Barkley bleeding from both eyes. One eye was looking like it was closing and everything. Then out of nowhere, Barkley hits Hearns and knocks him down, then stops him a few seconds later. It's like it came out of nowhere. A punch that he was looking at the floor and he just wound up and hit Hearns with that shot, caught all of his chin, and it was over. And then when they fought a few years later in a rematch, Barkley beat him again and won a unanimous decision over Hearns. So it was like, it was no fluke. You know what I mean? So again, when you put these guys in there with each other and they take on challenges, this is what happens. And this is what we like to see. So COLLAZO is going to show us some things about Stanionis that he hasn't seen because he has that type of experience. And I embrace that. I love that. If he beats COLLAZO in impressive fashion, then you got to know he's really for real. If he just wins a decision and it's kind of close or whatever, he may have some things he has to go back to the drawing board and work on and whatnot. But I'm telling you, this is, as you said, a great fight at the right time for Stanionis. What else you got on what I had to say, Reg?
That's all I had on that one.
Yeah. I was hoping you'd say a little more so it'd give me a chance to respond to some chat.
Oh, yeah. No, that's all I had on that one.
Well, give us something on give us some more on COLLAZO. Like, did you ever see his fight with he and Keith Thurman?
Wait, no, I don't think I remember his wait, yeah, he's the one who hurt Keith to the body, right?
Yeah.
Is he the first fighter? Yeah. But I think since that, COLLAZO has been battling injury though. And that's the other thing. Like, hope that doesn't show up to the fight and he's going in here against a young, strong fighter. This Stanionis kid is really a real strong guy, and there's a possibility if an injury is to come up against someone at this phase in his career, this young kid could possibly go in there and one of these injuries come back out there. He's physically strong and physically as being able to muscle a fighter around, but he's very strong as a puncher as well. But so hopefully he stands up. There's no injuries. I think COLLAZO also faces cut issues as well, if I'm not mistaken with that one. So I mean, hopefully he holds up because I want him to push Stanionis. Stanionis is a fighter I like, and I don't like fighters who I like to have easy routes through the game. Don't want them easy routes. You want a fighter to prove himself. Proven fighters are fighters who are always mentioned. They last through the test of time because proven work is work that is always solidified in the game and it's always memorable work. But that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah. I'm just saluting everybody that came in. I'm trying to get this out there. I want people to know I see him out there. But Pool Counter is saying he won a gold in 2015 European Championship, so he has a little pedigree. And he fought Justin DeLoach. Yeah, Reggie and I covered that fight with DeLoach, and he really broke him down. But I want to say salute to Stay Ready Boxing out there, the Jab Jamboree out there, Tay Brown, the Queen is out there, Andrew Charles. Salute to everybody that came in there, and I appreciate you guys showing up in the chat there and showing some support by writing in the chat. Appreciate you guys. But yeah, This young kid, guys, for you just coming in, I was talking about Eimantas Stanionis. I like him as a new wrinkle in the sport. he'll take the place of some older veterans who are on their way out, similar to like COLLAZO, but is he as highly touted as a Jaron Ennis or even a Victor Ortiz? Not at this time. But don't be surprised if he'd be the kind of guy who would give a Victor Ortiz all he can handle, because Victor Ortiz is limited himself and he's an aggressive guy. So it's going to be like two Rams if they ever came in there together. And Stanionis might be a little bit tougher on the inside than what we saw, because if you remember Ortiz's fight against Hooker, he wasn't doing so good in that fight, and Hooker just was undisciplined in what he did, but he was having some success. And I don't know if you remember, Reggie, after that fight with Hooker, that Ortiz's face looked like somebody stuck his head in a bag full of cats and they pulled him out. It's like he looked like he had been touched, you know what I mean? And not by an angel either. So, yeah, but I think Stanionis is the kind of guy that, you know, he could provide a test for a guy like Ortiz. I think that Jaron Ennis is just definitely a guy who is head and shoulders above the rest of the division. You know what I mean? Because of the talent that he has and that his pedigree that he has, you know, how long he's been boxing and things like that. He's the type of guy that is not going to show his best until somebody does something or presents him with something that brings that out of him. Because right now he can coast. You know what I mean? He can coast beating guys. But it'll probably be somebody that come out of the woodwork that we never saw coming or whatever, that could provide him with some kind of test or whatever. But that's the way I see him right now. How do you see Ennis right now, Reggie?
I think Ennis is right there, but it has to be proven. He has to get the opportunities.
Right.
I think he's ready to mix in with any of these guys that are at the top. I think he's elite himself, but it has to be proven going up against these tougher, more durable guys and guys who are also high skill. They may not be as splashy as he is, but there's a lot of variables that go into fights. But I think he's at the top of the heap of fast rising stars, and it's just a matter of him getting opportunities. It's unfortunate the way boxing is set up that opportunities are taken away from people because champions are hiding from folks. Champions shouldn't hide from folks. Champions should sit at the top of their throne and take on all challengers who want to test. And it's supposed to, holding the title, you're supposed to state that you're the top guy in the game. You shouldn't be running around from cats. You have folks who you can see are definite threats, are very good fighters. They want the challenge. They want to test. Those are the ones that you kick down from that hill for even challenging you. But you don't know. You may never get that opportunity, man. It's gonna come. It's gonna take some time for it to come for him.
Yeah, and again, when you talk about someone that has his type of abilities, it's uncharted until, you know, he runs into a certain type of test. And again, right now, the only people that can provide that type of test for him are really at the top of the division, the men who hold the two championships between them. That would be Bud Crawford and Earl Spence. Those two are, you know, and I think that they both present a different problem for him. He may be a little stronger than Bud, but then again, do we really know that? Because Bud has proven himself to be quite strong, and he's been at the weight for a little while. But what's even more interesting, Reggie, is this. Ennis is young, right? So man, 154, look out, huh? Because if he's not able to win a title at 147, you know, it doesn't look like it'll take him much to get up to 154. So it's like, my goodness, you know, and we know how the talent is up there. But between the two divisions, there's plenty of work to get done out there. And as you heard me say earlier, it's like, I like guys like Conor Benn. Maybe Conor Benn will be replacing Sean Porter as that guy who will come in there and just bear down on you and try to. Now, does he have a great chin or whatever? We're going to find out. If he fights the right people, we'll find out. And Ortiz is the kind of guy, he's going to beat his share of fighters until he gets in there with somebody that's just not going to stand in front of him and allow him to get off offensively. I think Ortiz is limited. I really do. But and then we have some other guys out there that are just chomping at the bit. You know, you got I think Oshaki Foster is at that weight, isn't he, Reggie? It's like we got, it's a lot of talent out there now, but guys are gonna have to face each other. And just like this fight that's taking place tomorrow night, it's gonna tell you a lot about Stanionis, and that's fine. We need that, but we need some of these other guys to show up too. That's why I really was disappointed when Ben had trouble with, you know, coming down with the illness when he was going to face Granados, because Granados was highly motivated to come back, you know, after suffering his defeats, and he wanted to prove himself against this young guy here. So I was looking forward to that because I thought that was going to be a war. You know, somebody is like, I ain't losing, and the other person is like, you ain't winning. You know, so it's like, that's what I was looking forward to in that fight. And I hope that they just reschedule it, because that's a good fight for both men. Do you recall when we were supposed to have that fight, Reggie, and we were going to talk about it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have they set a date to reschedule that one yet? Or
I haven't heard anything. I'll have to reach out to L-Dub and find out from him, because that brother, and I'm not laughing at him. I'm just admiring the fact that, man, that dude is like KO Magazine or something. He has all the stats and everything, man. He can give it to you. So I have to talk to him and get the scoop. But I hope that they just reschedule it, because that's a darn good fight. It's a fan-friendly fight too, and we need to see something like that. Andrew Charles is out there. He says Boots got a lot of ring experience compared to some of the other young fighters that might be more popular. I agree. Pool Counter says Thomas Delorme gave Imantas some problem early, so speed is a problem for him. Boots would destroy Stanionis. And Eric R. says, I think Boots, without the experience right now, would be tougher challenge for Earl than Bud. Interesting. And he says Boots versus Ugas, Thurman, or Porter would completely unlock his potential. Hey, man. Eric R., we assign you up as the resident matchmaker, because I would like to see those fights too. What are your thoughts on what he said, Reggie?
Let me see. What's his comment again?
He said, he got two comments back to back. He said, I think Boots without the ring experience right now would be a tougher challenge for Earl than Bud. Then he says Boots versus Ugas, Thurman, or Porter would completely unlock his potential. And I said, yeah, we could turn Eric R. into the resident matchmaker, because all of those fights sound good to me.
No, they definitely good. But the one, y'all be discounting Bud, man. Bud is a tough guy. And
no, he's saying in his comment, he's saying he thinks that Boots' challenge would be more of Bud than it would be Earl. That's what he's saying. He's saying he think that Bud would be a tougher fight without with his current ring experience. That Bud is the tougher fight for Boots than Earl is. That's what Eric is saying.
Oh, okay, I got it now. Okay.
But I was simply saying that all of those other matches that he spoke of too, Ugas, Thurman, and Porter, yeah, let's take them all. Let's have them. Let's have them. You know what I mean? So let's do it, man. Get them on out there. Andrew Charles says L-Dub got stats on lock. You know it. And he says Boots is at a point in his career where all he needs is an opportunity. I agree. But the opportunity, like Eric R. alluded to, is don't necessarily put him in there with a guy like Bud right now. You give him a Porter, give him a Thurman, give him a Danny Garcia, but Earl and Bud, leave them alone, because I'll tell you why. If they defeat him, and they defeat him in championship type fashion, it could like mar his, confidence a little bit. But if he beats some of those other guys first, then he can feel like he belongs on their level. Talent-wise, we think he could be on their level potentially, right? But that's unproven. This is why the other fights have to take place. Just like this fight tomorrow night between Stanionis and COLLAZO. You could put Stanionis in against one of his contemporaries, like a Conor Benn or Ortiz and those guys like that. But that's not going to tell us what we need to know from a veteran like this in COLLAZO, who's going to prove a lot, in that same kind of situation. It's just like when Shakur was fighting certain individuals that were giving him more experience with rounds and stuff like that. Yeah, it's great to be able to knock guys out, but it's really great to know that you could go the distance and know what it feels like when you get tired in later rounds and things like that, and not all happen to you in your biggest fight where you've never had any of that proven yet. That's like when John the Beast Mugabe fought Marvin Hagler. He was knocking everybody out. He was undefeated with 20 something fights and 20 something knockouts. He had no losses, and all of his wins were by knockout. But in the toughest fight of his career, in the toughest night of his career, he fought Marvin Hagler, and I think in the 11th round or something like that Hagler stopped him, but that he beat all the fight out of the Beast that night. And he was never the same after that. Terry Norris knocked him out in one round or something. It's like John the Beast Mugabe was actually a beast, but he went through all of that in one night against Hagler and was never the same. So what we would have liked to see in retrospect is, we knew he could knock people out, but we need to see him in there with people who could give him rounds. So when he gets tired late, what he's going to do? Does he carry that power late? You know what I'm saying? And those are the kind of things that you could build upon. You don't want it to be the night that you're at the big dance and you get out there and everybody else is doing the electric slide and you're doing the ham bone. You understand? You don't want that. You want to be able to be on par with whatever it calls for on the night in question. Let's see. Jay Gibson is out there, says, salute to Stormy B-Man and the family. Salute to you. Trick Nolte and Eric R. are laughing. Trick says, you wrong for that, Stormy. Laugh out loud. Pull counter boxing says, Fernando Vargas style. Yeah, absolutely. That's what happened with Fernando Vargas. They kept putting him in tough fight after tough fight after tough fight. Eventually, his armor had dents in it and everything, and finally somebody punched a hole in it. It's like, come on, man. Give the guy some breathers. They did that same thing to Meldrick Taylor, main events, and Lou Duva and them. They sure knew how to just put a guy in tough, man. SB Stay Sharp is out there, says, I think Boots is not that tough inside, and this will show up versus this next level. Saw him a lot in youth. What did it say? Saw him a lot in youth. We got salute to AdVision85. He just subscribed to the channel. Salute AdVision. Glad you decided to join the Stormy B-Man channel and family, man. That's good stuff. And welcome and enjoy what we have to offer here. back to Stay Sharp, he was saying that saw him a lot in youth boxing, and it is something that struck me about him. He was babied by coaches. Interesting. See, now that's something coming from someone inside like SB Stay Sharp. He has that coaching experience and background, and if he's seen some things, you know, he deserves to be able to state his claim or what he thinks or whatever, and we'll see if that is something that comes into play. Appreciate that, Stay Sharp. Pull Counter says Mugabe was like, why Hagler won't go down? It's like because Hagler was marvelous. That's why he's like, Hagler. Man, he hit Hagler in one round. I think it was the third round or something. I don't remember. I don't all the rounds, but he hit Hagler with an uppercut, Reggie, John the Beast. And if it wasn't Marvin Hagler, the head of whoever the subject would have been should have been in the 10th row. He hit that man with an uppercut I had never seen a guy take. It was like the uppercut that Buster Douglas hit Mike Tyson with to get him in trouble before he dropped him. And Hagler, boom, he took that uppercut and came back with combinations. I was like, how the hell did he take that shot, bro? Yes, sir. Stay Sharp says, salute to the chat and the OG Stormy B-Man, and salute brother Reggie. Andrew Charles says, I can't remember who it was he beat, but I thought Boots with an uppercut had a KO of the year over Tank. It was nice. And Eric R. says, that's something to look at, SB Stay Sharp. I think Porter is the ultimate test at 147. I don't think that Porter is the ultimate test at 147. A lot of people may not want to hear this, and I'll say it just this one time, and then you guys could think whatever you want. But I think the ultimate test at 147 would be a motivated Keith Thurman. And I know that doesn't go together, those words. But Keith has the talent. He was a champion for a reason. But he just lost that edge. He lost that something. And I don't know, that lady, she must have put that Kama Sutra on that brother, and he just ain't never been the same. He just, you know, he became a lover or something. He just wasn't the one-time guy and all of that anymore. But I really believe a motivated Thurman makes a difference out there. Salute to Bernard Burton out there in that super chat. He says, salute Stormy and Reggie and chat. He said, boxing conversation with Reggie. Oh, okay. Salute Bernard Burton, and appreciate your super chat, man, and donation to the channel, man. Appreciate it all. But Reggie, you got any thoughts about what I was cooking on, or anything else?
No, it's just, man, it's just sad to see Keith go down that road that he went down, because he is a very talented fighter, but like you said, that woman put that one time on him.
Yeah, buddy, man. That's why, you know, I respect your boy Lennox Lewis, man. He kind of saved all of that, you know, for like, you know, he got married and stuff after his career was over. But when he was world champion and contending, he focused on boxing. You got to do that, because women can take all of that away from you, bro. They could take all of it away from you. And the thing is, it's hard to get it back. When that's been taken away, it's hard to get that back. But like I said, a motivated Keith Thurman is the dangerous guy in the division. He beat up Sean Porter. He beat up Danny Garcia. You understand? He would have beaten up Manny Pacquiao, but that shows you how much of that edge he had been taken off of him. And I'll say this. I said going into their fight that Keith was going to lose that fight to Manny Pacquiao, and he did. He lost that close decision. It wasn't like he lost by a lot, but he did get dropped and everything. But I had said, imagine had Keith not experienced what he experienced to take away his desire or whatever. Manny would have been in trouble that night, you know, and that would have been the difference. But again, he could get motivated again, especially with people talking about him, making fun of him, and Earl, you know, say what he say about him, and like, you ain't gonna get no shot here and this and that. And if he has to be backed into a corner to come out fighting, that could be a dangerous man. But again, only so much, but we will see. And I would love to see Keith come back and fight. And maybe a fighter like a Jaron Ennis or something is the kind of fight he needs, because he couldn't fight Floyd, and he wouldn't fight Earl, and he wouldn't fight Bud. So it's like, this is kind of in between that. It's like, okay, come back and fight someone like Jaron Ennis or Victor Ortiz or one of those young lions out there and prove that you still got it, and go forward after that. You'll definitely be in championship contention if you were to defeat one of those guys. But yeah, man, that's what I had. But Reggie, we're at our time, man. I want to go ahead and let you give your final thoughts. But one more super chat just came in. Salute to Jay Gibson out there in the super chat. He says, if this Bud last fight on Top Rank, maybe Bud versus Thurman next year. Your thoughts, Reggie and Stormy? You can answer that one, Reggie, if you like.
Bud versus Thurman, I think that's a fight he's probably gonna have to take, man. I think Bud needs something, man. And I mean, but then again, you wonder, how does it count on his resume? Because do people view Keith Thurman as an unmotivated fighter? Because what we was talking about, is he the stiffest of competition that is out there for him? I think he may just have to take Keith. Keith's been running his mouth. He has to get one of these busy fighters on there. Take Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is still a motivated fighter. He can go with that. Keith, like you stated, man, it's unfortunate to watch where he went, because he had something put on him, man. And that's the thing when cats ain't used to dealing with women. And that's the thing with Keith. I don't think Keith really ever laid with too many women before. And he fell in one who was exotic. And she put a knockout punch on him, man. She set some Himalayan wop on him, and he couldn't deal with the altitude of it. It's got his mind blown. He sat up under it, didn't want to lose her. That's what happened with cats, man. You ain't used to dealing with woman. You get an exotic one to give you attention, and she put it on you. The power of sex is a mug, and especially for athletes. A lot of athletes have gone that wrong road behind not knowing how to deal with the power of a woman. And Keith is one of these prime example. At least it ain't from drug addiction. He fell in love with Himalayan addiction. But it's unfortunate, but Bud should fight him.
Yeah, and it's a great fight for boxing, to bring those two guys up with each other. Definitely a fight that I wouldn't mind seeing. You know what I mean? There's several fights that could be made at welterweight, man. It's like, it's time for these guys to go ahead and step it up, man, and do their thing. But we'll see what happens. And thank you for that super chat, Jay Gibson. Appreciate you and supporting the channel and the show with your super chat in question. So Reggie, go ahead.
Let me run to the door real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. Let me just kind of tie into what Reggie was suggesting too about the fight with Thurman and Bud. That's a very good fight because both men have movement, and the fact that Thurman has a bigger punch, it would be very interesting to exchange. Now, where the interesting aspect will come in is that on the inside, I think that Bud can fight on the inside, and I think that he throws great body punches. So that would be to his advantage. You know what I mean? Thurman wouldn't want it on the inside. He probably want to keep it at a distance in mid-range. But Bud could be very dangerous at mid-range as well, as he showed against Kell Brook when he caught Brook with that shot that he couldn't see. That was from a mid-range punching position. And regardless of what anybody thinks about Bud, man, that kid hits harder than people think. And I call him a kid because I'm old enough to be his daddy. But I ain't his daddy. I ain't trying to imply nothing. But yeah, that's the type of fighter but it's a very good fight. A very good fight. It's one of those fights that, even early on, just the suggestion of it, I can't pick a clear-cut winner, because if you're talking about a highly motivated Keith Thurman, he brings something to the table. If you're talking about a highly motivated Terrence Crawford, which we haven't seen that in a while as well, because Bud doesn't seem to really act like he wants these fights. So it would be something to say, and something to see rather. And that's how I see that one. So, are you back, Reg?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah. So, I was just expanding with my thoughts on the Thurman matchup with Bud Crawford. And right now, I would be back and forth between who might win. I would really have to think about that, especially if you were to talk about both men being highly motivated. So, which neither are at this time. So, that's something you have to consider. But why don't you go ahead and give us your final thoughts and everything, and let everybody know where they could find you, and let us know if you're going to be calling the fights tomorrow.
Yes, sir, man. Good show. And also, man, I gotta give props to them cats on that Olympic team, man, making it to the gold medals, man. Salute to those fighters out there. And especially the Richard Torres. I gotta say salute to him. I think what was that last year? Torres was knocked out by one of those Ukrainian fighters during one of those national tournaments where he was knocked out. And that's where those talks begin about amateur fighters having to go in there and fight professional fighters. And to watch this kid come back from that, and now he's going into the heavyweight finals. And I think they say he's the last American heavyweight to go for gold, that had the opportunity of going for gold since Riddick Bowe. So that's a huge accomplishment for that kid, and watch that kid bounce back like that. You had the silver medal. The guy going to finals yesterday, winning the silver. I think his name was Dugan. He fought a good fight still. He came up a little bit short, but silver is still good. And then you have Keyshawn Davis going in there for the gold as well. I think his fight is on Sunday. But just watching him in that performance today, and his post fight, or what motivated him in going against that Armenian fighter, was the attitude that the Armenian fighter came in there with into these events. Like the whole time when he said Keyshawn was speaking about being in this Olympic village, many fighters are cordial, they socialize. This guy's walking around with an attitude, a chip on his shoulder, thinking he's some tough guy, staring fighters down and all this type of stuff. So Keyshawn had kind of a chip of like, this guy want to act like a bully, want to act like because the guy's, I guess, strong guy physically. So he's thinking he's some kind of bully, some kind of big tough guy because he's buff or whatnot. When they go in this fight, Keyshawn was right there to bang with this dude. He tried to toss Keyshawn down. Keyshawn rolled him, then stand over the top of him. Then they had a break in the fight to where the ref is in the way. He trying to get back at this guy. He pushes the ref. He shoves the ref out the way, and the ref had to tell him, like, hey, calm down, young man. And so that motivated him. He ended up knocking this guy off, and now he's setting himself up for this gold medal. So salute to those guys. The fights tomorrow, I got to call. Unfortunately, I probably have to be on my backup channel because I got a strike. So I'm off to next week so I can get back on my main channel. Tread lightly. Ain't nothing bad that I did, just a community guideline. I know how to avoid those. But I'll be back on my backup channel. This is Boxing Conversation 2. And keep it rolling. But I'll be back on that main channel. I'm always on both of the channels. I'll be back on that main channel next Sunday, I believe it is. And that's all I got. Catch you guys on the next one.
Yes, sir. And salute to a couple people that popped in. We got Gregory X out there. It says, greeting brothers and sisters. Eric R. says, it breaks my heart to hear guys like Earl, Mel, and Maul say they won't fight certain fighters. Generational wealth on the table. Thurman versus Spence is built. And Charlo versus Andre is long overdue. And Calvin Johnson's out there says, salute to you, King. And the family in the building, salute to you. Jay Gibson is saying, yes, sir. It's lit. And Eric R says that Stormy B-Man and Reggie Owens, how is Keyshawn fighting in the Olympics? I thought he was pro. What's the rules? Reggie just broke that down. And that's pretty much everybody is finished up with that. But man, this 2 hours go by fast on Friday nights, Reggie. It's like when we start cooking and you come in and we get to talking, man, it just, the time just flows. It just goes by so quickly. But as you said, another great show, being able to talk this evening. This was the Friday night chop session. Number 119, and we called it Stanionis versus COLLAZO this weekend. And that's what we're getting. It's the PBC, and it's on Fox. So we're going to get on out of here. You guys get ready to enjoy your weekend. Catch these fights tomorrow night. We'll do a post-fight show after the fights, and we'll be right back at y'all guys tomorrow evening. So peace to everybody. Salute to the new subscribers. We had a couple of new subscribers this evening, and we are moving forward. One last question, Reggie. Were you able to see the video I dropped today called Welcome to Black Murderers Road 2021?
No, I was unable to catch it. I haven't even been on the internet too much.
Watch that video, Reggie. Watch that video. I released it this afternoon at about 12:15. It's impactful. Check it out. I guarantee you. And you gotta let me know what you think after you see it. But a lot of people out here checked out that video. A lot of the content creators from the community and everything. All I can say is, like, check it out for yourself.
I'm gonna check it out. I'll check it out after this.
Yeah. So, but I'm gonna get on out of here. You're gonna get on out of here, and we're gonna enjoy this weekend and the fights on deck. So please, everybody, remain safe. Take care of your families, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.